Most people are completely oblivious to an entire wave of deportations and suffering that thousands of innocent people had to endure. Starting in June of 1941, the Soviet Union began mass deportations of the citizens of the Baltic states. The deportations from the occupied Baltic countries of more than 40,000 people was the first mass action of its kind. This was months before Hitler even began his deportations. I became very interested in history in the 8th grade when I read my first and favorite historical fiction book. I have researched it, especially the 21st century, a lot since then, and I'm a senior in high school now. I've learned a lot about this as a result. I think this is a topic that everyone should know at least a little bit about. These people suffered tremendously, and it seems as though they've just been forgotten. Now, you may be wondering, why did Stalin begin deportations in the first place? The first rounds of deportations were selective because they were focused on just removing the politically and socially elite. Stalin wanted to get rid of anyone that he thought would go against the Soviet Union, so the majority of Baltic countries. There was a list of categories that most people could fall into. It was very broad, so they could find anyone they wanted to deport. Over 70% of the victims were women and children. Stalin referred to them as enemies of the people. Some people were removed simply because they had nice houses. Soviet soldiers and officials lived in the houses of the people that were deported. People were transported on Vito Railroad cattle carts. Obviously, there were no bathrooms, no fresh air, and no source of food or water. They usually got fed disgusting slop once a day with a small bucket of water for the whole cart. These carts were overflowing with people, and they would go days without standing. Sickness spread fast, and some were on these carts for weeks. Now, you may be wondering what they experienced and where they were taken. Many people were taken to very remote areas of the USSR, Siberia, the Arctic Circle, and Central Asia. There were very rural camps in these places where the victims were forced to work. They received very little food in return for their work. Some people would get sick from exhaustion and then starve. If they did not work, they did not eat. As a result, people would often die of sickness and starvation. People that were taken to these camps would work insane hours, ranging from 10 to 48-hour shifts, and they got no breaks. They often got very little sleep because of this. Most people were forced to go months without showering. They usually got one shower every year. They were forced to do whatever the soldiers wanted. Some women were forced to work in brothels, and some got to be maids. They were considered the lucky ones. What these innocent people went through is devastating. Most died and did not make it out alive. Unfortunately, the majority of the deported people died. Hundreds of men were just sentenced to death and shot. Women and children had a very high death rate as well, ranging up to 60% in some camps. Some women and children died as a result of forced labor and harsh conditions or malnutrition. The people that did survive usually survived alone. Most of their friends and family died in camps because of how low the survival rate was. Most survivors did not escape for over 10 years. Some were kept in prison or labor camps until 1954. That's 13 years. Stalin died in 1953, so some people were kept in camps even after his death. To conclude, now you know where and why these people were taken and what became of them. I hope you have a better understanding and respect for these victims.